Hey everyone, welcome back to EDM Films show and podcast. With me today, I have
Mike Hughes, writer and director of Rooftop Summer.
Zach, friend of Mike Hughes and music guy.
and of course, your host, co-host, Joey Edwards. So we're going to talk this time, we're going to go back in time and tell a little bit more about how we all know each other. So that brings me to this one right here. We have nicknames for each other. His nickname is M32, and he calls me
J5.
Right, and there's a reason for that. That was our server numbers at Don Pablo's back in the day, back in the late 90s, mid 90s?
90.
Mid to late 90s.
95, 6.
Yeah,
That was
like
before
that.
the Rainforest Cafe days.
Right, so he and I met at a server job, and then that's how you guys met, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yeah, so what time frame was that?
98-ish, 98, 99.
Okay, so, right, that was one of your...
Just realized Zach and I have almost a 20-year friendship coming up. You and I have even longer than that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Best friends. You're my best friend. So that, it kind of touches on one thing is the film we did before this was a couple years ago. It was called Slammed. We've mentioned it before, and that film was basically, I had written a full-length feature script called Waiters.
Which I still love.
Thank you. And that I wrote that in 99. And then you might know of a little Ryan Reynolds film called Waiting. It had a sequel. And I refused for years to watch that movie until Mike brought it to me. And so I watched Waiting and Waiting 2. And they were decent. But wouldn't you know it, I wrote a feature film. And then a couple years later, I called it Waiters. And then a film called Waiting comes out. So I guess to that point is, if you have an idea, go for it. Don't wait.
Sit on it.
Yeah, don't sit on it. And so what happened is, I guess that kind of upset me. I'll be honest with you. I was like, that sucks. It was a pretty common idea, so I can't really blame anyone for coming up with an idea that was, kind of vanilla, honestly.
Right.
But what I ended up doing to get over it is we came up with Slammed, which was a condensed version of the film about waiting tables. And so that's whenever Mike introduced me to Zach, and that's when we became film buddies. And I got to hand it to you, Zach. You were so great in that film. You're so fun to work with, and it was such a pleasure to meet you. And your character in that movie, Zach, was great. So just real quick, what were your thoughts on Slammed and working the whole process on that?
It was really easy for me to get into what we were doing because I am like a career waiter, restaurant server, and I love the business. And I just tried to sort of accentuate everything that normally happens when you're a waiter. We got boiled shrimp, fried shrimp.
Right, I Forrest Gumped you in
and all,
editing on that.
and all that, yeah. But there's a monotony and an excitement that it's the same but different every time you go to a table.
Right, it's the same steps.
Yes.
And you make different amounts. Like one night you're going to make 90, one night you're going to make 130, but you can be damn sure, that you sold the same. You had some regulars come in. You sold the same margaritas to the same type of people. You forgot a side of ranch for table 32.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing.
Nothing's worse than those nightmares when you're at home, you're already passing out drunk, and you wake up and you realize, damn it, you forgot that side of ranch.
Right, like, I forgot
24.
I forgot jalapenos for that guy, and they still tip me.
Waiters don't get drunk.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, my bad. That must have been another dream I had.
Right. And that was the main focus. That was the main focus of Slammed, honestly, was the dark, the seedy underside. And that wasn't the main focus of my Waiters script to begin with. It was actually about some quirky characters that I worked with at the time at Tia's. And so what we decided, Mike and I put our heads together and decided to go for the dark underbelly of waiting, tables. But that's why
the negative aspects.
right.
Well, yeah, not necessarily negative, just sort of cynical.
Realistic,
about
too.
the whole, just cynical about having a shtick and doing the same shtick for so long that it's it even gets uninteresting to the server that's doing the shtick.
Right.
And so
It's like we were all of us that were in Slammed. It was like we were all that one girl in Waiting, the one that's just real bitchy, you know.
There was the Doc. She wore the Doc Martens. Yeah, she's like, damn it, no. Hey guys, would you like to try some? You know. Yeah, all been there, and you know, so that's. I mean, I had some remarks on the Slammed Facebook page, which is now gone. I don't know why I took it down, honestly, but whatever. I had some remarks when it first came out. They're like, when the teaser came out, they're like, oh, I don't like it because it was all about, you know, the drugs and we really and so we pulled it back a little bit. When we put the short together, we made it more about a love story, and so that's, you know, that's kind of the where we are right now, and we're like full blown love story mode in Rooftop Summer, and
people now are going to be like, where are the drugs?
yeah,
Oh,
right.
geez.
Yeah, there's just a couple of beers in Rooftop Summer, but there's more sex. So, but the one thing that really ties them together, and the thing that Mike and I have really been aware of in our production, is sound. Whether it's sound effects, a sound bed, or flat out the music. And you know, the music really changes your emotion. Like you and I were editing the other day, and we watched a scene, or we knew where the cuts were. We watched it in the timeline, and we thought, you know, we liked it. And we threw in a music, you know, we threw in a track and watched it all the way through, and we both turned to each other and high-fived at the end. We were like, whoa.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah. And so we can't wait to put your music in there in its place. So, and, you know, you kind of talk about your creative style, like how you work with a, you know, keyboard. You work with a pen. You can both
Yes.
work with keyboards, technically.
Yes. No, obviously I'm a writer, so when I'm creating a story, I have thoughts. They come to me. I make notes. I have my little notebook that I jot things down. And then I develop those, and I create my characters based on words and descriptions and scenarios and situations that I find them in, much like every other writer that you will encounter ever.
So you make notes about your words, and you make words with your notes.
Yes. I take his words and sort of decide what I think his words are saying, but I say it through music because I don't really speak words very eloquently.
But you speak music like an animal.
That was very
Yes.
eloquent, Zach.
Well, you know,
But yes, you
I'm just
are-
pretending to sound smart for a couple of minutes here.
oh, good thing we're on audio and video.
Yeah.
You can't actually smell us here because, our lovely Brittany couldn't be here today, so we turned it into a dude fest. And whenever I pulled up, like apparently you don't have AC in your vehicle. And
Oh,
so
no.
you guys were like just sweating bullets, and I'm like, sorry, I'm
Smells like
late. So
dude.
but it's all worth it to be here to do the show for ourselves and for you, our friends, fans, and followers. And on that note, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You know, guys, once we get, you know, we went backwards a little bit to talk about Slammed, and now we're talking, you know, we mentioned Rooftop Summer and like probably 90% of these shows. Where do we go from here? Do we have any ideas on the radar? I have a few that I've already talked about, but I want to pick your brains.
I'm spinning my wheels. I don't have anything concrete yet, but I'm always got my wheels turning, jotting down musings, interesting people that I encounter throughout the day
Right.
that could make for interesting storylines.
One thing I've told people in the past, and we've shared this also, is like, your idea doesn't have to be a complete film. Your idea can be a line of dialogue that we put in the next project. Your idea can be one scene that goes into the next project. You know, you don't have to feel the pressure of writing from, you know, beginning to end an entire project. You know, just so I like the way you keep notes. I make mental notes because my belief is if I remember it, then it was good and it was worth it.
Right.
So I don't necessarily work. I do take notes
I tried
sometimes.
that for a while, and then I started forgetting the good stuff. So I just jot down everything, and I sort through
Right.
all the bad. And, I mean, right now my notes are pertinent to Rooftop Summer and what's going on there. But I'll jot down if I encounter like a silly person at work or whatever.
Right.
I'll jot down that.
Yeah, that dude that came in with his
that
pants falling
exchange.
down or whatever, you know,
Yeah, or
the plumber
somebody-
butt guy that
somebody
was
that
bitching
was
about his lawnmower battery.
Yeah, somebody that was a jackass to me, I'll be like, okay, that guy was a dick, but you know, how can that translate?
You just made it into my next script. Thank
Right?
you.
Yeah. Welcome to the apocalypse, dumbass.
Right. Well, you know, I do take some notes. I use my phone. I'll just use the memo on that and just sort of speak into. I mean, I don't take a lot of detailed notes,
Yeah,
but
voice
but-
memo's great.
yeah. So it's kind of interesting. I don't want to weigh on you only for music because you were talking about something earlier that was like it had some wheels on it actually. So
Yeah, Zach's
tell
got a
us a
great
little.
story idea.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your the person who grows up and they're always being coddled or they're always being.
Tell us
Well,
about your
ex-
existential.
I thought it was a great idea. If you want to, if you want to
Is-
talk about it.
Well, it's basically an idea about a child that mechanically does everything that he's taught, but he's always held back, but he's getting given validation. Well, we're just holding you back because you're going to really kick butt.
Validation
And
is the word I was
there's-
looking
yeah.
for. Sorry.
Yeah. So that he always gets held back with the validation that he's going to excel with a group that isn't even part of his peers. That's a level down from what his peers
So
are.
maybe he lives his whole
And
life
so-
with like backhanded compliments.
yeah,
Sort of.
lives his life with backhanded compliments, and he's always looking for validation. And he gets 400 people saying happy birthday on Facebook or whatever, and he goes to the party. Hey, I'm going to get a beer or whatever, and like 2 people show up, and
Right,
they're
so-
not really into being there to begin with.
Right. So his success
And-
is his everything that he would consider a minor or major accomplishment in his life is all sort of fabricated by the false validation that he's been given.
Yeah.
And then I guess accentuated or excuse me, exaggerated or whatever by the virtual world that we live in these days.
Right, and he's
I've got some
driven by
thoughts on
that
as well. I've got some thoughts on.
Make sure you kiss it. You have to kiss that cheap microphone. I'll spring for a better microphone for the middle guy.
I've got some thoughts on
Perfect.
the storyline. Perhaps he goes the first act of the story could be the validation from parents, peers, teachers, people, just actual human beings. But then maybe it takes place in an earlier time, like say early 90s, and then as time goes by, late 90s, early 2000s, as we become more dependent on that technology, he delves, like most people, get more into technology, and he becomes more dependent on that validation that he's receiving through the technology.
Right. So he
And
gets
so-
mom and dad.
and so that's how that
best
it's
friend.
like a validation addiction.
and then
because-
MySpace, Facebook,
And
all that.
yeah, the
Generation
validation isn't necessarily a horrible thing. It's always a driving force for him to, want to better himself. But at the
Right.
same time, it's
What-
it's really not important. In
What I thought was interesting also.
Right, it's there and it helps him, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's just no different than you or me going, "Oh, hey, Petey's."
right, the validation you
Petey's
get from
birthday,
people
happy
that are
birthday.
there next to you far outweighs the validation that you get in social media with thousands of people saying, "Hey, great job."
Right, but you
keep
mentioned
going."
something
Right,
about
what's
how-
important to him is just a click for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you mentioned something about how he was an athlete, and his coaches pumped him up that he was really good, and so that's why they wanted him to play on the younger group.
We'll keep you in the lower level, but we're going to make you the first baseman and the shortstop because you got a good arm and you're good at catching
Yeah,
the
you're a
balls, and
starter,
you're
but we're
be
going to hold you back to play on the
on the younger league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll be the oldest kid in the younger
I
league.
mean, just that sort of
it's-
style, not that specifically.
So it's like if
in-
radio made the team.
Who made a team?
Radio.
Radio, as opposed to.
Head.
No.
I mean, hold on, wait.
Radio. Come on, you guys know Radio. The film, Cuba Gooding Jr. Radio.
I remember that, but now we're talking about
All
special
right,
needs, aren't we?
That joke.
No, but
I missed it.
No, but now we're talking about special needs instead of just some, it wasn't Radio a special needs person, or was he like?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
No,
The-
I'm talking
the
about
joke's
like
gone.
everybody.
No,
at
that's
some
okay.
point
Timing
in
is
their
everything,
lives.
and we did, because I was going to say radio. You mean as opposed to like CDs or something or MP3s, and so,
Cassette tapes, man. Cassette
yeah.
tapes.
It took me a minute. I did see that movie, so okay, so that was a really obscure reference.
But I mean,
Moving on.
everybody has that feeling where they're like, dude, I'm gonna be bad. I'm gonna be so awesome because all these people say that I'm gonna be so awesome, and then it turns out that you're just a taxable Social Security number.
Right. Okay. And so in the third act, in the
So
third act,
then really-
he's just like kind of alone and lonely.
Yeah,
And-
and then and he ends up like dying, and he's like, well,
now, spoiler
I
alert. I'm kidding.
okay, you can leave that part out.
Spoiler alert. Our new
Yeah.
idea, the
Okay.
main character.
Well-
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay,
keep
we'll-
rolling.
we'll-
keep
we'll-
rolling.
All just government
But,
cheese.
It's just what you end up with when your time to go comes around.
The day of
it's-
reckoning.
Yeah, it's the validation you get from the people that are always next to you, being your friend in proximity,
Right.
will far outweigh any validation you get from.
So as I dig deeper, because I want to get to know you as as good as I can, is this something that you've experienced personally by chance?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely
And I'm-
some
and
of the ideas.
Am I
are-
being aloof here or obtuse or whatever? I mean, is this something that we all experience and I just don't realize it?
No, I would say
I think
a
we
lot
do.
of people. Yeah.
I think we all do. I think we all like that validation. That's why we're on Facebook, man. We're all on social media. One, to be nosy. Everybody's
And to judge others.
Yep.
Snoopy Magoo, and everybody is judging others, and everybody likes validation. That's what Instagram's all about. Look at me. Look what I'm
That's
doing.
all a like is. And like, for example, when someone puts something that's probably confrontational or highly inflammatory, it's strange. Like the people that will like the post, a lot of them aren't necessarily liking the content. They're just showing support for their friend.
Yeah.
And
Right. That's why they came out with all the new emojis, so you can show different.
right, like
Not-
the
em-
wow or the
empathy,
heart,
yeah, right.
love, wow,
Yeah, empathy's
sad.
not the right.
So they're
word.
making fake
You can-
validation more important now.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. It's like when you die, is your Facebook remembrance page going to get more attention than your funeral?
Right, with all the frowny faces,
Right.
all the frowny face emojis are going to be, oh, look, we got another frowny face emoji on so and so's
I got
Facebook.
7,000 comments on my in memoriam page, but only 4 people showed up to my funeral.
You know, it's kind of funny. We talked about the validation is like I have made a conscious effort, and yay for me, I'm a social media warrior. But I don't care who it is, no matter how much I love them or whatever. I refuse to participate in the happy birthday on your Facebook thing. I just don't think it's sincere.
I do to people I know.
Yeah.
Like you, happy birthday. You're my friend.
Right.
You know, people I don't
But
know.
but see,
just
because you know
it
me and
tells
love
that-
me, you're gonna call me or text me, or there's a chance we're gonna be together that day.
Right.
I don't
right.
need you to be like,
I'm
happy
gonna
birthday,
buy-
dude.
I'm gonna buy you color changing coasters. That we
Yeah,
can
you
go
are. I
crazy
think I still
with.
have those too.
Shoot,
See, but
yeah.
here's the thing. Even that kind of validation when you're not even around does make people feel good about themselves. And what's wrong with making other people feel good about themselves?
Nothing.
Even it's like
Nothing at all.
even if it is like a fake validation.
Well, okay,
I
then you
like
just
getting
sort of
birthday
asked. You
wishes
sort of
from
answered your
people
question
I
then.
don't know.
Maybe
I-
you just debated your own question there.
I'm sure I
What-
did.
You said,
Maybe
you know,
I
we
think I
just
did,
turn
yeah.
this thing into a movie and see how it turns out.
right.
Right?
Okay, so you 40 people that watch this video, I hope don't be all aggressive. Don't be all taking our ideas now.
Be that 41st person. Just sits back and
Do that.
enjoys.
If we are inspiring you to write a script or to make a movie, give us a call. We would love to work with you. We're always looking for new talent.
These are how ideas are born. Sitting
Right.
around a round table just shooting the doo-doo.
Right. So, I've mentioned that before also about people who are afraid to talk about their ideas because they don't want them to be jacked, and it's okay to have your notebook and it's okay to have your voice memos or have everything logged in your brain. But if you don't share it, it never goes anywhere, and I said this before when we had Jared on, it's like, you know what? If I throw an idea out there and you run with it and I never hear about it and it makes you millions of dollars and it makes your career, then that's what was meant to be. Because you showed the initiative. And that's kind of where we started this was I wrote a script and it sat there, collected dust, and then I saw someone else with a very similar movie. And so I guess this just kind of went full circle. But when it's your birthday, Zach, I will call you or text you or probably be with you within a few days of your birthday. So
I'll just write happy birthday on your Facebook wall.
Both are acceptable to
And
me.
then and then I'll knock on
But see,
your
no,
door.
that's a
You're
personal choice I make.
Right.
Just because I don't want to choose like some person that I've only met on Facebook over someone that I've grown up with.
Right.
I mean, and I know it's stupid, but there's other things we do on social media that are discriminatory maybe, or that, preferential, I guess. Like you'll see like 2 or 3 people that you're always liking their stuff. Like. And then you'll see other people and you're like, keep scrolling. I'm that way. I'm like, when I see someone's name, I'm like, jackass. I'm like, oh, I love her. Like, oh, he's a cool guy. Like, ass. Weird, and it kind of goes back to that
People post
voyeurist.
some dumb crap on Facebook, but that's where you limit your interaction with that.
Well-
If you're getting on Facebook and you're doing that, maybe you're getting on there too much. I've started it. I'll get on Facebook. I'll check notifications.
Right.
I maybe scroll down about, I don't know, 3 swipes on my phone. And after that, usually it's not anything too terribly interesting. If it is, I'll be like, okay, like, or
Go
whatever.
back to the top.
Here's what I think of, and this is sort of on the other side of what you were saying, but like through the music that I've done in past, I've gotten a chance to meet hundreds of people from different countries that really affected me in a very positive way.
Right.
And so when I keep up with them by liking their page, I'm sure there's some sort of, computer logarithm that says, oh, he's liking. I mean, I do really, honestly, genuinely want to keep up with those people, even though
Sure.
I haven't seen them.
Sure,
in
that's why
like
so many
8
people
or 9
overpost
years.
pictures and stuff, because it's for their family in Iowa or their family in Florida
Right.
or
And
whatever.
the way the algorithms work now, you have to interact with them, otherwise you stop.
Or else
seeing
they
their
don't show
That's
up.
right. They fall off your wall. That's a good point.
And I don't, I don't want to be the guy that, forgot about all
It's-
his
it's the
buddies
Facebook
over in
Humpty,
Japan,
it's
because
the
I
Humpty
don't.
Dumpty effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You stop.
Yeah,
seeing,
you're right.
Stop seeing your one of your buddies' bands
Yeah.
photos of their tour because you stop liking their posts. Or,
Right.
Or what have you. And next thing you know, they're like, "Oh, what happened to you, Zach?"
Yeah.
Right.
You were cool for the 4 days you were over here.
Right. See,
Yeah.
that's a good point, because
Now
there's
you don't like our stuff.
Yeah,
What?
right.
there's a German band called the Beautiful Bunch, and this young girl named Leah Bell, she used to do acoustic Volbeat covers, and she would do a bunch of different covers with her acoustic, and she has a cool little sense of style, and they have a really cool metal band, and they're making it big over there, and I was like, so yeah, that's somebody where I'm like, hey, oh, there's the Beautiful Bunch again. I like that. And personally, I feel kind of unique because I know nobody in my circle knows who they are until now. And so that's sort of my personality. So now I'm using my likes to express myself. You know what I mean?
Well, and also, they're not going to forget who you are.
Right. Hopefully.
Right. Does anybody ever go through their likes and see who all like their stuff?
Oh yeah, when you see something that's like 10 people liked, and you're like, oh, okay, those 10 people like me. Those 10 people support me.
Who clicked on the heart?
Right. Maybe they'll go have a beer with me on my birthday.
Right. And,
Right. Just filter through your whole Facebook.
right.
All
Well,
the people that
Hey
gave
guys,
you hearts.
you know what? I think we've done a really good job of going full circle here and making a lot of interesting, valid points and having a fun discussion. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up right here, if that's okay. Do you have any last closing remarks you'd like to make?
Just go see Rooftop Summer when it comes out. We'll keep you posted on venue locations and bands that are going to be scoring it.
Right.
Be good to each other.
I second that. Be good to one another, and thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Make sure you click like on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter.
No, I want him to click the heart.
Heart.
There
You
you
want
go.
the hearts.
I like the ha-ha personally.
Wow. All right. Peace out.
Bye.